December, cold, winter, harsh fishing conditions, right? So we're bringing you, starting in the month of December, a monthly bonus episode. And every episode we have on throughout the month leading up to this, we will ask a specific question to each pro or influencer or just fishing nerd, right? That we have on the Lure Lab podcast. And that one specific question is going to be tailored to something specific. So this one, I asked Destin, DeMarion, Hunter Shryock, and Jake Lawrence what their top bait is for December. So welcome to the Lure Lab. As always, I'm your host, the captain, Andrew Fall. And as always, the Lure Lab is presented by Omnia. Any baits that we're talking about today in this episode will be linked down below in the description. So make sure you click on those, head on over to Omnia, type in code SERIOUS10 at checkout, and be sure to go through all the new arrivals too if you're a Premium Pro member, because there's all kinds of new baits being added on an almost daily basis at this point. So this one's awesome. Top baits for each angler that we've had on in the month of November. Some juicy nuggets were popped in, and 3 entirely different baits and techniques we're choosing. So I hope you enjoy this bonus episode here on the Lure Lab, and let's get started. We're compiling these questions here for all of our viewership, but for December, I want to know what your favorite bait to throw is for these lethargic cold water bass anywhere in the country.
Anywhere in the country, December, I'm going to have several rods rigged up with the same lure. That's going to be a jerkbait. It's real simple. A stunner, 112 plus 1. That's like my go-to.
Why the piggyback onto that? Why the +1 over the regular?
So I don't know why, but obviously the regular works well, but to me, I've caught more fish on the +1, and I think it has something to do with it does some weird stuff. It has some weird actions, and there's times that they do kind of. I think when it gets extremely, extremely cold, it almost is a little too much for them. Like you have to finesse it more. But anything, and I say 45 and up, you can twitch that thing, and it does one of the. Especially now with forward, we can see it. It'll dive, and all of a sudden you're twitching, and it'll go up. And I've had so many bites when it twitch and it popped up, and I didn't realize it, but I started paying attention. I'm like, oh, it actually just came up and it chased it up and ate it.
That's really interesting too. Like I've never paid attention to that. Now I'm gonna have to pay attention to that.
Yeah,
So,
and try other jerk baits too, and see like when you pull them, like how they, where they're at in the water column, because I think it's definitely more of a wide searching one.
yeah.
And then it does that where it pulls up, and I don't know what it has to do with the bill, but I've went through a lot of those.
It's like a crazy thing to think about too. And like honestly, we should probably do a jerkbait episode for like all seasons of the year, because there's such specific niche jerkbaits for like each each water temperature part of the year, right?
Sure.
Like
Yeah.
there's certain ones that excel here. Then you have like the name one just off the cuff, like a Jackal re-range, right? Like I won't even touch that one until it's like 65 degrees or warmer.
Really?
It's
Yeah.
so erratic.
So erratic.
So
Yeah, there's finessier ones, right? So when it's super cold, I feel like it just takes them longer to get to your bait.
yeah,
And sometimes they'll be super aggressive when it's cold, but at other times it's like they want to mosey up to it type of thing. And all the, like little details matter a little bit more. But I like the +1 too, just when you're actually hitting them with a beam, you can get it down in front of their face, unless they're just completely floating right under the surface. If they're a couple feet down, I feel like I can get it, right in their face pretty quick. So compared to a shallow running one or the regular one.
Absolutely, man. That's a great little jerkbait. The stunner is like, a- I have a extensive jerkbait box, I think, for a lot of people, but the stunner I think is like at least 50% of it. It's such a good jerkbait.
It's a
It's
yeah, and they got the some new colors in it, so I was pumped about that. They came out with those, I think, just last year, so some more
awesome.
like translucent colors
Yeah.
to kind of. I throw a lot of translucent colors. That I mean, I feel like that just kind of helps seal the deal when they're nosing up to it and stuff. But if it's a little bit dirty, go straight white color. You can't go wrong.
Yeah, when the water's dirty and it's that like upper 40s, low 50s, I feel like you can't say no to a white jerkbait. It just
Right? Yeah,
pulls things. White and dirty water is a mainstay, so you might as well throw a jerkbait too. So
for
cool.
sure.
All right, Destin. So for the month of December, what is your favorite bait to throw in for cold water bass?
Well, that would definitely be one of my favorite baits in general, which would be a blade bait, and specifically the Fish Sense Binsky. There's just something about the vibration on that thing, like it's just
Whiskey's so
different.
good.
I know, dude. Like everyone here, like is on the Binsky train now because it's good. Like it just works. Whether it's bass, walleye, trout, whatever, it works. We've been catching lake trout on it a lot,
Yeah.
recently, and it's great for lake trout in December too, and walleye. But bass, it's just a killer. It catches big fish. It gets big bites. Um, every day is not the play, but if I had one bait in the cold water, I think you're going to catch the right fish on it. It's a big fish bait.
Now, like people will say with a blade bait, it's you got to throw silver, you got to throw gold, you got to throw a
Mm,
painted one, right? Like, so what is the flavor of pattern that you like? Like, do you reach for first?
yeah, for me at Erie, or just in general, the sexy shad one. It's a killer,
Your
man. Like
favorite?
just that little bit of chartreuse on it, the gray back, the white, solid. It's just perfect. If the water's got a little stain, it's like the deal. Even if it's not, even if it's like clear, it still works good. But like that stain, just that little bit of solid color, it's so nasty, as you
It's,
know.
it's money, yeah. I feel like I only throw three: silver, gold,
Me
and
too.
sexy shad.
That's all I should really
Yeah,
throw too.
that's all you
Yeah.
need. Most
The
days,
Gobi one's pretty good too, but I just don't
yeah.
use it as much
I
unless it's
always
real
forget about
stain.
that Van Goby
Unless it's
one.
real stain. But it's
Yeah,
not really like it's chartreuse with a little bit of brown. I,
it's
I
a
wouldn't
great
say it's.
perch imitator too. If they're eating
Yeah,
perch,
yeah,
that one's gonna fish for sure. So
absolutely.
cool.
But
No,
that one's good too if it's real stain.
yeah. And then what would you say? Half ounce is the best size.
Oh yeah, all around. I'm sure that's what you're throwing too. Like there's, I throw the quarter ounce if it's shallow and I'm snagging too much. But sometimes the profile's too small. They want that little bit bigger from that
Mhm.
half ounce. Like I find it here, that half ounce is like a perfect mimic of most of those little shad that they're eating, in those cold water months.
Yeah, they gotta feed up for the winter time, specifically where we're at.
Yeah,
We're not
we
so
just have
lucky
snow.
with that we freeze over, but we're lucky that the bass bite up until the point the lake freezes, and they just keep getting wider and wider and more hungry until that water hits like 36.
Oh
And
yeah.
like
Well,
it's
you and I both have experienced that when it's like 36, 35, and we still go out and catch 100 to 200 fish, and it's
they just fight like
insane.
crap.
They do. They're very lethargic, but it's still just a blast. I caught them 2 years ago. Remember when it didn't freeze like real good and it
Yeah,
thawed by then?
icebergs.
Yeah, I was catching them in like 33-degree water, just sitting on top of them, just bopping them, but they were so lethargic.
Hey, if you have an inkling of sunlight, I feel like when the water gets to be that cold and they can warm up just a little bit, it's time to go,
You
and it's a great time
100%.
to rip a blade bait. So
Yep,
cool.
100%. You're right. When the sun was out, it was good because I went out a couple of days when it was just like no sun. It was miserable. It was
Yeah.
hard to catch them. That little bit of sun, they just got up a little bit. They were aggressive enough.
But, but like thinking of like December though, like sometimes in December as that water temp is dropping, you don't want the sun. You want it to be miserable. So it's like once it's ice cold, need the sun. Before it's ice cold, no sun is best, I feel like. So, and I could be completely off there, but that's what I have noticed.
I
So
think for certain presentations, like they get hot, in the winter, like as you're falling, like as far as like when the blade's real good, a little bit of a wind is good. That cloud cover can be good too.
for sure. Well, I appreciate your response there for the December bait. That's a good one, and one I feel like people don't talk enough about. So thanks for the
Mm-hmm.
blade bait, Chad. Something that we actually need to have an episode on here again soon, I think.
I could get Steven on for you.
Oh
He's the
yeah.
blade guy.
We actually did a Binsky episode one time already, and we had Kurt on for it. Hopefully.
Oh, that works too. Yeah,
Yeah,
he
that was I
loves
think it was
Benson
like
too.
the 6th or 7th episode ever of the Lure Lab. We did a Binsky episode, which is pretty legit. So,
Well,
but
he's proved he can catch them on because he fishes for all species and he's catching them on that thing all the time.
oh yeah, Steve catches them all year on the Binsky. So
Mm-hmm.
love it. Question for you here. It's a monthly bait question for December. I want to know, what is your magic bait that you throw for lethargic cold water bass in the month of December? Because I feel like that is the month where we start to see water temps in parts of the country start bottoming out, right? Because the winter solstice is coming and all that. So, what is your go-to bait for that time period?
All right, so I'm gonna throw you a little curveball here. I'm gonna make
Oh
this
boy.
interesting. I'm gonna give you two baits, and I'm gonna explain to you why. My favorite bait, and if I had one that I knew they were going to bite every day of the month of December, it's what I would throw, and that is again that OG Bill Lewis. That's the half ounce. I'll also throw the 3/4 if it's a little deeper in that, call it 4 to 8 foot of range. But if there's only one bait that I can throw the entire month of December, regardless of conditions, both weather and water, it is going to have to be the 6-inch hinge minnow with a 3/16 ounce ball head jig. This is the Buckeye G Stroll. But again, it's just one of those, regardless of what's happening on that given body of water, the month of December, there are going to be some bass out suspended, out roaming, and I know when I put my boat in the water, I am going to be able to find some bass that are willing to bite that hinge minnow. May not be the most fun way to catch them for some people.
Maybe the most
There is
controversial way for some.
absolutely there, in my opinion. Yo-yoing an OG trap there is not a more fun way to catch them. But there are days when that is the deal, and there are days where you could not buy a bite doing that. When they're not on it, they are not doing it, and you just can't force that bite. The jig-headed minnow this time of year, it's going to be a main player regardless. As long as we've got, say, a foot of visibility or more, that is really the only exception. And the reason, it's not that they wouldn't bite the hinge minnow, it's more that they just don't go out there and suspend as much with a lack of visibility.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. I always feel like the minnow is more of a clearer water deal, and then the trap, if it's dirty and they can see and they can hear
Yep,
it or feel it, they're gonna come get it as long as it's
that's
close. So,
usually the deal. You're
yeah, man.
exactly right.
I mean, I can't think of a more fun way to catch them in December than with that, or maybe like a blade bait or a jerk bait. Like they're all great choices for the
They
month
are.
of December, right? So awesome. Well, thank you for taking the time to answer that one. And man, yeah, it's I hope people also went back and listened to your top winter techniques for river fishing, because that episode is a good one. So that's just a little glimpse if you missed that one. So make sure you go back and check it out. All right. Well, I hope all of you guys tuning in enjoyed this episode for these pros top December baits. I mean, blade baits, jerk baits, lipless, where can you go wrong? And just reactionary baits. Sometimes in the wintertime, we're like, we really got to slow down. But these guys, pros, touring pros, was on the Bassmaster Elite Series. Like, they know how to catch some fish. So make sure you take that advice. And some more advice I'm going to give you is hit that subscribe button here. If you're listening to YouTube, leave a comment down below what your top December baits are. We greatly appreciate that. And then if you're listening on your favorite podcast platform, please leave a review if it allows you to do so. Helps the Lure Lab be seen by more people who love bass fishing. So stay tuned for this week's episode, and we'll talk and see you all soon.